Hey guys, we're here making another video today. One of the things that I really wanted to try and do is help teach, especially some of the younger kids, as well as anybody else who's looking to go bowl tournament on sport patterns, differences of ball choices, a little bit of lane play, surface choices, kind of like how my thought process is when I go bowl an event. The first patterns that we're going to talk about are short patterns. As you can see, I have 3 different balls out here now. I have a few more that I would normally take. We have a Fever Pitch, which is urethane. We have the new Promotion by Storm, which is the new collaboration with Belmo. We also have a Phase 2. When you're wanting to play a short pattern, I like to use the rule of 31. So the rule of 31 is, you take the length of the pattern, subtract 31 from it, that's where your break point should be. So if you are looking at let's say a 32 foot pattern, take 31 away, your break point roughly you want to be is the 1 board. There's always exceptions to this rule. It's not obviously 100% correct all the time, but it's a good guideline to give you a starting point. So the reason why I have these 3 types of balls out here, the other one that I would carry also is a Pitch Black, and I would probably put an IQ Tour in here as well. I get 2 different looks with urethane. Fever Pitch is a little bit longer down lane and a little bit more angular than what the Pitch Black is. Pitch Black is a lot smoother. Pitch Black is probably the first ball that I would pull out of my bag, as well as an IQ Tour. I have these 2 out just because of the fact that, as well as with the IQ Tour in here, mine has the exact same layout as I have on the Phase 2. If you want to go around the pattern, that's okay to do. You have to make sure that I think you're throwing more symmetrical pieces and you have the solid cover stocks. A lot of people refer to ball motion in quick and slow. I personally don't like using that terminology. I have my own reasons for that. Everybody likes to use different terminology, and that's absolutely fine. So my slower response ball motion term that I use is smoother, and then quicker response I use is more angular. I like to stay with a lot smoother shapes. Now there are people out there who will get away with throwing asymmetrical balls, stuff like a Crux Prime, or I've seen people even throw some asymmetrical pearls on short, and they can make them look very good. But I think from my personal experiences bowling for Team Canada internationally, the smoother shapes and the symmetrical balls seem to give me always the best reaction consistently. Using the rule of 31, you're going to want to play closer to the gutter. Your break point is going to be closer to the gutter. For higher ball speed guys, a lot of time your laydown's probably a lot of time going to be 3, 4, 5 and around that area. People with slower ball speed who want to send it out a little bit, you're obviously going to be a little bit left of that, so you're probably going to be sliding anywhere, I'd say, between 7 and 12 and kind of throwing it to the gutter. Easiest rule of thumb I can say for ball surface is the shorter the pattern is, generally the lower the ball surface you want. The higher the surface is, the more it's going to get through the front, go down lane, and it's going to give you a sharper angle on the back. Now obviously if you've got a 32 foot pattern, you don't want something that's going to give you a lot of angle off the back of the pattern, just because of the fact the pattern's already giving you that. So that's why we stay with these symmetrical pieces, and I like the smoother balls, solid cover stocks. This ball right here, the Promotion, is probably the one that is going to be the exception, that I probably won't throw it as much because of the fact that it is a little bit higher RG symmetrical ball, but it definitely could come into play in late transition. The layouts that I always found most effective, urethane, I found kind of everything effective. It's just a smooth rolling piece. The layout I have here on this ball on the Promotion, it's 3 inches from my pin, or my PAP. The pin is 3 inches. So that gives me a very mid-lane strong and controllable ball motion, which is what I want. I have the Rico layout on my Phase 2 here, as well as my IQ Tour. I like this one because it still gets to the front really clean. It just makes a stronger mid-lane motion, which I find it's very effective on a lot of fresh mediums, and I also find it very effective swinging it to the gutter on short. So these are kind of the rules of thumb that I like to do. Like I said, the lower surfaces, I mean, when I hit urethane balls, because I'm more of a high speed, high rev player, I have never really thrown a urethane ball above 500 on a short pattern. Usually for me it's 360 or 500. Those are pretty much my two go-to surfaces. Now if I'm in a higher friction center, or when I one of the places that I bowled at, and it was Puerto Rico, it was very hot in the bowling center, so there was a lot more friction. So later on I had to up the surface of some of my urethane balls to 1,000. But all in all, my rule of thumb is usually about 500 or 360, and I've had quite a bit of success on short patterns. So that's what I like to do. Now when I get to the reactive balls, those balls I tend to throw 500, 1,000, and sometimes 2,000. It all depends. It's all relative to what you see, but the one thing that's really consistent here is that I have a lot of the lower surfaces for these pieces. That is very, very crucial when you're bowling. You want to get that early roll. You don't want to see it change too much direction off the back of the pattern. I know they don't really use, for WTBA anyways, they have the different banks. I still like to use short, medium, long. That's probably something that's been ingrained in me. It's always going to stick. So for short patterns, usually I have anything that's 30, I'd say 38 feet and under for me is what I consider short. Now when you're starting to talk about 37 and 38 feet, that's when you're kind of branching into those shorter medium patterns. You know, it's all subjective to what you see. But if I was going to go bowl on a short pattern right now, guaranteed anything 36 and lower, we'll say, I would start off with a pitch black at 500, and I would probably have my IQ Tour up there at 1,000. Those are my starting points, and from there I would see how urethane behaves, and I would see how reactive behaves, and go with the better shape off that. Always remember that your main goal is what is going to allow you to hit the pocket the most is the first thing that you're looking for. Then the second thing that you're going to look for is entry angle. So you're going to want to probably start a little more up the back of the ball. If you notice that you're kind of weak 10ing a little bit, or for a lefty, or you're leaving that weak 7 pin, you move a little bit right into the friction a little more early. If that gives you kind of that 4 pin look after that, that's when you can either decide to go around it a little bit, or change your hand position to maybe get around it a little bit more and move back a little left. These are all the little tricks that you want to do, but the main thing is use that rule 31. It gives you the general area of where you want to be. See what shape is going to give you the best look to the pocket. Once you're there, it's about adjusting for carry, things like that, and quite honestly, experience is going to be your best teacher for that. It's one of those things. For the youth bowlers, I think the most important thing is when you're bowling these youth tournaments, make sure that you're getting to the pocket consistently. Once you start gaining that experience through figuring out what's going to strike more, what's not going to strike more, that's, you know, for the adult bowling, that's when it's going to be more crucial. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it helps some of you guys out with understanding the lane play of what you want to look for short patterns, giving you a good starting point, and helping you choose the right balls that you would want to take for that type of pattern.